Ladies and gentlemen, a fond welcome back to Gothic. So, I apologize for the abrupt cut last time. I was interrupted, and unfortunately I could not get back to recording right away. So I decided to post the video as it was, and I also kind of screwed up when posting the video. I meant to schedule it, which is why it first went live with no title and no description or anything, so I apologize for that. It was not meant to go up as soon as it did. I was gonna let it go up hours later after I managed to get the description and everything sorted out, but regardless, no harm done. So, one of the things that I was actually in the middle of talking about, or was about to talk about, was all the Piranha Bytes games going up on Good Old Games again, because it's very interesting in that regard. Piranha Bytes is listed as the publisher of all three games, including Forsaken Gods, actually, as they appear on Steam. I mean, not on Steam, Good Old Games. I haven't even checked on Steam to see if it's been updated. So what that means, actually, is that Piranha Bytes seem to have gotten the distribution rights back from Nordic Games, who are the company that bought out Joe Wood. And I've never really fully gotten the details. I know that at some point Piranha Bytes did sort of come to a distribution agreement with Nordic Games, but I think that was only part of a sort of collector's bundle of the Gothic franchise. So essentially what they were contributing was the first game, because they have always maintained the distribution rights to that game, as far as I know. And obviously Nordic Games would have gotten the distribution rights from Gothic 2, Gothic 3, and Forsaken Gods as a result of buying out Joe Wood. But basically, several months ago, there was kind of a big fuss over the fact that Nordic Games had taken down all of the Gothic games from Good Old Games, except the first one, which of course Piranha Bytes still owned. And that was over a disagreement about Good Old Games' new policy in regards to regional pricing, which Nordic Games was not a fan of because they would have made less money in that arrangement. So, anyway, it seems that Piranha Bytes has gotten the rights back, because now all those games are back and lists them as the publisher. So, who knows what that really means for the future of Gothic? I'm not sure it really means anything. It's just Piranha Bytes wanted to give the games back to the community, and so may have called off their arrangement, or actually purchased the rights back from Nordic Games. Hard to really say. We did bring it up on the World of Risen forums and did not really get any sort of answer from any Piranha Bytes employees, so I'm not really entirely sure what that means. But it is kind of an interesting development. Anyway, if we go this way, we'll notice, you may remember that Cavalorn was here, and Cavalorn was a member of the old camp, but to our advantage, he is not actually in on any of their shenanigans. He wanted nothing to do with it. He doesn't explicitly say so, but he's still a merchant. He's still got quite a bit of stuff. And he will always be friendly and always be willing to teach you... Oops, I sold my bow. He will always be willing to teach you archery-related skills. And we did also see somebody out of the corner of our eye back there, who I will address presently. But I just kind of want to hawk some of this shit off on Cavalorn here in the meantime. And he's got some pretty significant bows now. But again, I am not an archer, and so I do not need them. Alright, so apart from Cavalorn, we also have Scorpio.
Hey, no sweat, man. Come over here. Will you train me?
If you have enough ore, I'll teach you how to use a crossbow. Just pay me 200 ore.
So now, even though he wouldn't talk to us before when we were a member of the Shadows, it seems that he has departed from the old camp and will actually teach us now, which I should have actually done this dialogue option first to clear that up a little bit.
You okay?
I'm hiding away here. I don't care for the trash those guards are pulling off. But I've taken some pretty good stuff from the arsenal. If you need a weapon, just let me know.
So now,
Show me
not
what.
only is he a instructor for crossbows, he's also got some very good stuff. So he's got some serious amulets here if you are into strength or dexterity, you just need a bit more. But since we do have the best one-handed weapon available, that's not really important to us. And he also has some very significant crossbows, if that is how you wish to play the game. Alright, so I should have clarified a bit, or at least should have re-emphasized that what we are doing now is we are trying to find Xardas, the former magician of fire who has turned to the dark side and abandoned his brothers of the fire, of the Circle of Fire, for reasons unknown. And he is now the only one in this colony who might be able to help us. But first, let us take a look inside this here tower. Right, left, left. Not bad at all. And if you wanted to, you could actually climb all the way up to the top there. I always do it, even though I'm pretty sure there's not anything up there. But it's just kind of fun to do. Getting up there is a tricky part, though. Yo! Almost made it. How have I done this in the past? Am I even sure that I've done it in the past? I'm not totally sure I've done it in the past. I'm not getting any onto... No getting onto that ledge. So, how have I done this before? Because I know I've gotten up there. Oh, that's how. Perhaps. Ooh. Ah! Alright, forget it. Boing! So yeah, this is the top of the tower. Absolutely nothing to be found up here. So fret not if you struggle to ascend, for there is simply nothing to find. But, ooh, if we were to go this way, there is quite a bit more things that I have passed by many times during this walkthrough. So these snappers here are obviously quite nasty, but not the most intelligent beasts, are they? They do not seem to know how to get up here. Problem is, I can no longer target them. They're trying to hit me from down there, which is kind of funny. Don't fall! Oh, God! Back, foul beasts! Ah, yes, these snappers. I remember them well. Perhaps some of you, who had the gross misfortune to actually witness my Dark Mysteries playthrough, might remember some of the more amusing moments, including some of the circumstances with these here snappers. Alright, he's gonna get the other one. Hopefully he won't die. Holy fuck. I didn't know they could do that. Yeah! No! No! Ah, yes, wonderful times. Anyway, Over there is something altogether pretty interesting, but there's also just a cave here that's got a small amount of loot in it, including a scroll, a couple potions. What kind of scroll is that? It's just an ice block. The icons for the game, for the spells in the games, even the ones that carry over between them, are just like they keep changing the icons. The what do you call them? Whatever. They keep changing the icons for them between the games, so it's always hard for me to remember which what is who. Come on. Oh, right. So there's a bit of a campsite here, but whoever was here seemed to have packed up and left in a hurry. Down here is a bit of a pond with some lurkers. At least a lurker. There's also another fairly hilarious sequence of events that happened here in my Dark Mysteries playthrough as well.
Fuck. Fuck. It did not work as well as I hoped. This game sucks. He's still there. He's not giving up. He just fucking died.
Altogether terribly amusing. There's an orc statue here, which is pretty intimidating. Pretty curious. But even beyond this single orc statue, there is also some interesting stuff over yonder. There you can plainly see some orcs, who are no joke. Oh wow, they don't take very much damage from that. But they do from that, and they get stuck, and that is very helpful. Alright, so Storm of Fire is good against these guys. See, that's the important difference. Don't be dissuaded from magic if enemies seem rather resistant to a certain spell, more so than others. It all depends on their resistance to the particular type of damage. So magic damage and fire damage are completely separate. So even though you would think, oh, this is a magic spell, it actually does a completely different damage type than the ball lightning, which does magic damage. And I don't know why they really do it that way. Why there's only... why there's fire damage, and then why there's an all-encompassing other damage type. So fire spells stand alone, whereas all the other offensive magic is very different. So clearly this is an orc temple or sanctuary of some sort. Pretty ambiguous, its nature. There's no shaman. There's no shaman or any kind of ritual sort of thing going on here, so I'm not really sure what its deal is, but there are only a few orcs guarding it. And it is obvious that this is one of the many things that Piranhabytes never managed to flesh out. It's one of the things that I also have never really seen them comment on. They've always brought up things like Quentin's Bandits as an example of something that they were not able to finish working on. But they never mentioned this place in any of the interviews that I've seen. So I've always kind of wondered about it, but there's not really a whole lot going on over here. Alright. So from here we've got a couple ways to go into the Orc Land to try and find Zardoz. A few of the ways are fairly safe, if you do have trouble with the orcs, I am going to show you what I feel might be the safest route. It's actually one that I don't tend to use. I'm usually content with going through a small number of the orcs to get there, but I will show what I think might be the easiest way, one that puts you in little to no danger whatsoever. So obviously you can go through the gateway here if you dispatch with those guards. But speaking of guards, there's one in particular that we did not make an example of. Ah ha 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 ha! You sorry fool. So, altogether, this was like the friendliest guy in the old camp. But unfortunately, he was not pleased with us, so we had to do away with him. So if you go this way, there's a route down there that takes you through some orc dogs, which are not pleasant at all. So if you try to skirt around them and head up here, what you're going to end up with be some orcs. Skirting around them even more, which, speaking of which, you notice these kind of steps here. If you were to climb them, there's a cave down there. And if I recall correctly, there is an orc shaman in it. At least some manner of unwanted creature. Oh, nope. Oh, okay, there's nothing in here whatsoever. The shaman, I guess, is only in Gothic 2. Who's in there for some bizarre reason. But if you head up on this mountainside, you can circle around the orcs for the most part. I think there are some wolves and such over here. Or some other manner of rather nasty beastie. Or are there? It seems to be totally barren. Oh wait, no. Something's over there. Oh, bloodhounds. What are bloodhounds weak against? I don't know if they're weaker against magic or fire. I mean, granted, this isn't as powerful. Well, that seems to do pretty well against them. The Storm of Fire does take more mana to use than that, so altogether might be a little bit more efficient. Storm of Fire takes 10 mana, and this takes 5, so... Oh, good lord, what happened? What just happened? Why is the frame rate gone to shit? Okay, there we go. That was very strange. Oh my god, it's still happening. So that bridge up there, if you went higher, you could have taken that bridge across, and that actually leads back to the mountain fortress where Lester is chilling out. We're not really looking for that, so I think there's either more bloodhounds or a shadow beast in this cave. Either way, we need to top ourselves off with some mana here. Oh, there's nothing at all. God damn it. I'm telling you. I have, like, artificial expectations as of playing Gothic 2 so much that I really expect there to be a lot more going on in these caves. So, here we find a lake, and there's some kind of bizarre construction here. And the water seems to be really fucking with my frame rate. I could not tell you why that is. I feel like there's like a lot of jargon over these mountains that's trying to render all of a sudden as a result of having the view distance set so far, but man, is it really bugging with me. So this tower has a curious little hole in it. That's going to be important later. I would not recommend trying to investigate it now, because you do kind of break the story a little bit early, and it is also just kind of a waste of time. There's not anything you can do down there until you reach a certain point in the story, which most of my subscribers are already well aware of. So, as you can see, taking this route puts you past the orcs altogether. And it also puts you past a lot of really nasty creatures that are along the valley down below and really get in your way when you're trying to reach Zardoz' tower. These creatures include the biters down there, which we do have to do away with anyway. But more importantly, there are razors down there, which are a much more deadly and aggressive form of snapper. So, being able to get around them does make this quite a bit easier. And there, my friends, would be Zardoz' tower. And in fact, we don't need to deal with the biters, because we have this here. Oh! I am a doofus. I totally forgot to read the books in the library. Oh dear. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you got this far, and you don't want to use my walkthrough to figure out this next puzzle, do yourself a favor and go read those books. Because if you want to try and figure out this riddle on your own, that's your only clue in the game, the only thing that's supposed to help you. But it's not really a complicated puzzle at any rate. You see a strange being down there. That, my friends, is an ice golem. And directly in front of him is a stone golem. Now, we've experienced the stone golems before, or at least one of them, which is why I've equipped this hammer. Stone golems, of course, are susceptible to blunt force trauma. So using a bludgeoning weapon is what will assist you in destroying them. Ice golems, you can well imagine, are vulnerable to fire. So if we let him have at that, he's dead in an instant. No trouble whatsoever. But now we have to deal with this big stone fucker. Attack, you fool! Once again, it seems my my fellow hero here was rather frozen in fear as he saw that thing wind up to punch. Now you have to make sure... What? No! No! What? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Okay, this one works. Why couldn't I loot the stone golem? Oh, I did. Oh, I'm an idiot. My apologies. I got rather anxious for no good reason. So you have to make sure you loot these guys. The ice golem is interesting. He's got two different items. This piece of an ice golem. For what the... What? What? I don't remember that. The gist of this is that these pieces are needed for a puzzle later, but they are also useful because each of them has a spell of their own. The Fist of Wind is good for knocking enemies around, and it does have a fairly quick wind-up, but it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, and it's just not really altogether that useful. But the Heart of the Ice Golem does have the Ice Block spell, which if you don't have any other means to cause ice damage, is very useful here. Because, of course, the next being is a fire golem. Now, what is going on here? Whoa, it's not working. Oh, got him. What? Why didn't it work? It's supposed to work. Oh, you know, I think I remember that. For whatever stupid reason, the ice block spell doesn't actually affect him. Perhaps the ball lightning will, though. Because the implication... Let's see if this works before I even try to explain it. Ah, it does. And he does get stuck. So the implication is supposed to be that the fire golem is susceptible to ice. But since there is no ice damage type in this game, he is instead just has a very low resistance to magic damage. Now here, once again, was a very amusing moment in my Dark Mysteries playthrough.
Just make sure there's nothing dangerous creeping around. Wrong corner.
You know, for all its troubles, I do have some distinctly fond memories of playing that mod. But unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. So here we found Zardoz' tower. And, well, it's fairly intimidating looking, but I don't see anything that dangerous so far. Oh my god! Why dost thou not strike?
Hold on, who's talking to me? You are talking to me? How did you get into my head? You are what? The servant of your master? You seem to be a creature from hell. You want me to be silent? Is your master's name perhaps Xardas? Oh right, so names are not important. Okay. I'll just assume that this here is the Tower of Xardas. I have to talk to your master. Me? Unworthy? What kind of test? Ah, I understand. Whoever wants to talk to your master must prove worthy first. Hold on, what was that? The proof? Victory over what? Victory over the elements? Stone? Ice? Fire? Here's the heart of a stone golem. What? Right! Worthy proofs! Missing? 2 are still missing? Is this heart of an ice golem the proof? Duality? The second proof? 1 is still remaining? What about this heart of a fire golem? Perfection? I'm worthy? If that's the case, I'd like to speak to your master now. Counter evidence? What kind of counter evidence? A rune? A rune for me? Well, then I'll accept the rune of teleportation as a sign of worthiness. Mortal? Who? Me? Okay, I'm on my way.
Ugh. Now, it's not that talking to this demon is particularly unpleasant. It's the whole way they set the dialogue there with the, having the hero apparently repeat everything he heard in his head. And oh my god, I hate that. I don't know why it bugs me so much. Maybe it's just because the fucking voice actor is so terrible. Anyway, right, left, right, bugger. Right, left, right, right. Right, left, right. Boom. Got me a fat stack of ore. Alright, so what he has given us, we had to give up the hearts of the golems, and now we are only left with this piece of an ice golem, which as far as I know, is just an ice bolt spell. So it's not even that powerful. I don't know why it requires 400 or 500 mana to use. I suspect that is a glitch in the setting the numbers, so I'm not really sure why that is. Anyway, let us loot this chest as well. Right, left, left, right, right, right. Oh, the exact same combination. And this has got some fine potions indeed. So if we have at some of this extract, we can buff up our healing points by 10. Which is very nice indeed. Anyway, let us teleport to Necromancer. So we can still hear the demon huffing and puffing down below. And got some more potions. I'm sure the dreadful and feared necromancer will not mind us looting his tower. Ransacking it, as it were. And here we have a ladder. Well.
Who dares to disturb me in my studies?
My name is...
I don't wish to know your name. It's insignificant. All that matters is that you're the first person in years to have solved my golem's riddles.
Have there been any other visitors?
Not many. And when they began to annoy me, I confronted them with one of my supernatural creatures.
You enjoy being on your own, don't you?
Well, let us hope we don't begin bugging him.
I was sent by Xardas. We need your help.
Why did you pronounce his name that way?
Plan to use their big ore mound.
The ore mound is not the solution.
It isn't?
No.
All the magicians of fire are dead. Gomez had them assassinated.
That does not surprise me. Those foolish barbarian butchers in the castle, especially Gomez, were never to be trusted. Caristo and the other magicians elected their own hangman when they helped Gomez to usurp the power.
The so-called Sleeper is said to be an evil archdemon. That's what the Brotherhood in the swamp found out. Now the magicians of water believe that everybody in the colony is in great danger.
There is a greater danger than anyone within the barrier could possibly imagine.
If the explosion of the ore mound doesn't avert the great danger...
Forget the ore mound. Its power won't open the barrier. If Caristo and Xardas hadn't wasted their time fighting over foolish and vain issues throughout the past years, they'd all know what I know now.
Which is?
None of the 12 magicians ever stopped to wonder why the formation of the barrier got beyond their control, or why it assumed such gigantic proportions.
Did you find out why that happened?
Well, one thing is certain. The answer lies deep beneath the Orc town.
The Orc town?
Orcs are not animals, as many people think. Their culture is as old as the human culture. A few centuries ago, 5 Orc shaman invoked a very old archdemon, which they hoped would give their clan the power to defeat their enemies.
This archdemon, was it the Sleeper?
The Orcs gave him that name much later. But I won't tell you why they did it, or why they are now terrified by the supernatural creature.
Why not?
I believe you could be... No. To be really sure, you'll have to perform another task.
Which task?
Listen carefully. The Orcs have exiled one of their shamans from the town.
Why have they exiled him?
The dying Orc warrior was no longer able to answer that question when he was interrogated by one of my demons.
What does this Orc shaman have to do with my task?
He'll tell you the rest of the story about the Sleeper.
An Orc shaman is hardly likely to be keen on talking to me.
Do you want me to help you or do you not?
Well, yes, but...
Then never question my words again. Find the shaman. He's not on good terms with his brothers in the Orc town, so he may listen to you before turning you into a living torch.
Very comforting. Where is this exiled shaman?
Go to the old citadel in the east. You can't miss it. It's on top of a high mountain, which can be seen from a distance.
Can you just enter it?
They call it the old Citadel, but there's hardly anything left of it other than the foundation walls. It's been a ruin for many decades.
I will get the answers from this shaman.
My servant has already given you a teleportation rune for the pentagram 1 floor below. That will make it easier for you to get back here later.
I'm seeking magic knowledge.
Alright, so Xardas altogether is a fairly imposing fellow, but strangely familiar, seeing as he has the same voice actor as all the other high mages. Don't really know why that is, but Xardas also sells the only 2 remaining shrink monster spells, and they're not really a big deal. They're only useful against trolls, as far as I know. I've never actually used them against anything else now that I think about it, but at this point in the game, we are strong enough to take on a troll even without it. The troll that we fought with Diego was just uniquely invincible to make sure that we used the spell. Anyway, the unfortunate thing about Zardoz' tower is that there is no way down. The citadel we want to get to is right up there. We passed by it around the lake. But there is simply no way to safely get down from here. I don't know why such a critical oversight happened. But, you know, apart from using the fall glitch that I use, there really is no other way to do this, unless you can make it over there safely. And boing! Ah, it works. Okay, so that's how you can get down safely if you want to make that jump. Otherwise, you have no choice but to teleport somewhere else and then make your way all the way back here. Very unfortunate and very annoying. So, that is Zardoz, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, fairly off-putting at first, but he did seem to warm up to us pretty quickly. And, I'm just going to finish dealing with these biters here, because I kind of want to explore that cave over there. Oh, yeah? Yeah, that's right. Burn, you fools. And you're gonna get another. Oh, wow, it hit him and not you. Back up, back up. Alright, so strategic use of the dodge mechanic that I've only recently learned about can actually save your ass once in a while. So I'm just going to check out this cave right quick. I don't think there's anything really going on in here. I usually ignore it, which is probably because there's not really anything in here. Yeah, this is as far as it goes. This cave is pretty interesting because it does get turned into a mine in Gothic 2. And, not really much to it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Next episode, we will follow Zardoz's, follow his direction and try and find this orc shaman at the top of the, citadel there. So, I shall see you all when that happens. Good night, everybody.